And welcome to Tuesday Training. I hope you're having a fantastic week. As always,
we are live from Austin, Texas, right here in Insurance Syndicate headquarters. And man, we have a great show for you.
What up? Good morning. It's Tuesday, and it is a couple minutes past 9. I'm a few minutes late, but we've got some news. I got some news I wanted to chat with you guys about, and then a lot of y'all that have been following me or listening to me for any length of time. You probably know that relationships are super important to me in this business, to the point that I'm even writing a book about it. It's taken a little longer than I suspected, but it is coming along well. And I want to go over a little bit of that book, namely just a little bit about the first chapter. The whole book premise is the relationship business. You've probably heard me talk about this before, that there are 8 primary relationships that exist in insurance that you as an agent have the opportunity to connect and grow your business through. I'm going to talk about the first one today, which is the foundational relationship in all of insurance. Your upline or your mentor, your FMO, your MGA, your GA, your agency, your boss, whatever you want to call it. But we're going to dive into that. First, I do have some news that's come out. Some of this is updated. Some of it's brand spanking new. Nothing super crazy. But I do want to show a couple of items to you guys real quick. As always, this show is brought to you by DFY CRM, which is my CRM of choice. I don't know if you guys saw the demo that Eric did recently on Health Stack Pro. It's pretty phenomenal. Like, they have all of the hospital indemnity products, all your Medicare Advantage products. Everything is fed in there, and it builds all your bundles for you. You can super quote it. I don't believe it's actually live on the platform yet. I could be wrong. I've been out of town for a while, and as well as a couple days, so I'm not sure if it's live on the platform yet. I'll know pretty soon when I get in there. But pretty slick. If you're in need of a CRM or you're looking for a great CRM, dude, I'd highly recommend DFY, aka Done For You CRM. So feel free to hit me up with any questions. I can connect you with Eric and Tim over there, and they can get you a demo or whatever you need. So anyway, moving along, man, I want to dive into a couple of pieces of news real quick. Let me share my screen, and I hope you guys are doing fantastic this Tuesday. Appreciate you all tuning in as always. And again, if you follow me for any length of time, especially on the show, you know that I like to talk about fraud, because I believe that fraud is rampant in the Medicare space, Medicare, Medicaid, etc. And a matter of fact, I just saw Tim comment in the comments below that yes, Health Stack Pro is live on the platform. So if you need some help bundling that little add-on for DFY is going to be very helpful for you. But nonetheless, man, check this out. Former NFL tight end convicted for Medicare and VA fraud scheme. At first, I thought this was old news, and it may still be a little bit, but I don't think so. The reason why I thought it was old news at first is that, well, I recognize the name of the individual involved, and not because he was a former football player. I know him because of his previous endeavors in fraud within the senior market. But nonetheless, this is from Military Times. It says former NFL tight end was sentenced to more than 16 years in prison for a years long, how many years? I don't know, but multiple years long fraud scheme that cost Medicare and U.S. Veteran Affairs almost $200 million. $200 million. Good Lord. John Wetmore barely sells that much insurance in a year. But took this guy a few years to get $200 million. Anyway, Joel Rufus French, a marketing company owner and beneficial owner of 8 DME, durable medical equipment companies, sold patient information and fake doctors' orders for medically unnecessary orthotic braces. We've definitely seen this before with other items, skin grafts, catheters, cancer screening tests and genetic screening tests, COVID screening tests, especially back during the lockdowns. There was a lot of that where basically they're working with DME companies and doctors. They're getting a hold of Medicare beneficiaries' info, and then they're just billing Medicare, and Medicare just pays the shit, and then they collect the cash. So the reason that I said that at first I thought this might be old news was because I recognized the name Joel Rufus French, and not because he was a football player. I actually didn't know he was a football player. I've known that name for years. I've known that name. What is this, 2026? I've known that name for about 15 years now, because Joel Rufus French ran a final expense scheme against my partners at Precision Senior Marketing quite a long time ago. And he hit one of our marketers for close to 6 figures, basically writing fraudulent final expense business, right? There's a group of them. They basically write a bunch of final expense, get the advances. They'd pay like maybe the first premium, and then they'd cancel all those checks or bank accounts, right? Before, or even maybe the policies, and then they'd go do it with another company, and they just keep burning their way through it. And then they'd find another member of the French family to keep it going. So these guys are definitely have never been in business, as far as I'm concerned, on the good side of it. They have always been criminals. And then here we are again with Mr. French getting busted for Medicare and VA fraud. See, that was the thing. Like, we couldn't do anything about them when they were scamming us on final expense, when they're just, taking the advances, canceling the policies, letting the debt roll. We end up having to pick up the debt, and they just move on. There's, as far as we could find, there was no legal precedent that we could chase them under. We could report them to collections, and that was about it. And of course, they're never going to pay it, because they're criminals. They're not in there to create debt and then pay it. So I feel like it's a little bit of some late karma now that he decided to move on from FMOs and marketing companies and scamming them, and just go straight to the source, start scamming Medicare and the VA affairs. So I'm happy to hear that Mr. Rufus French is probably going behind bars for a while. We'll see. But basically, it was, as the quote says, fueled by lies, bribes, and overseas telemarketers. This corrupt scheme preyed on senior citizens and disabled veterans to flood the country with unnecessary medical devices. Like, how many people are aware of this scheme in different ways? They just pick a different piece of DME equipment to do it with. But he collaborated with overseas telemarketing call centers. They pressured the elderly Americans into sharing their personal and health insurance information and into accepting orthotic braces that they didn't need, want, et cetera, et cetera. So then paid sham telemedicine companies illegally to acquire signed doctor's orders from doctors and nurse practitioners who were never examined or sometimes never spoke to the patients, according to the statement. So good for you, Joel. I am happy to hear, or Rufus, I should say, I'm happy to hear that you're busted now. And I hope you spend many, many years behind bars, not just for this one, but for what you did to me and my buddies over at PSM. So adios, Chief. Moving along, we're going to stick with the fraud thing for a minute. What is your problem? Yes, share this tab. So out of health executive, not as big, but pharmacy owner gets 2 years in prison for defrauding Medicare for $2.5 million. So, I mean, they're coming after him on all angles. Like, I have been covering fraud pretty much ever since I've been doing this show. We've read reports or seen reports from the DOJ and news sources of as much as $1 billion in Medicare fraud. And that was just one couple of people that hit it for over $1 billion out of Scottsdale. Y'all may remember that, where they wrote the very kind of lurid news article about him, where they were doing skin grafts and got over $1.1 billion out of Medicare. This is a smaller end, but still, I mean, it's fraud and it's illegal. But the former owner of a pharmacy in New Jersey has been sentenced to 2 years in federal prison after pleading guilty to defrauding Medicare of over $2.5 million. Nestor James, 37, submitted hundreds of false reimbursement claims for prescriptions of a drug called Dificid, Dificid. Dificid, I guess, maybe. A narrow-spectrum antibiotic used to treat infection in the intestines. The antibiotic is expensive, and through his pharmacy in Paterson, New Jersey, the defendant was said to have billed federal insurance programs for $4,000 per prescription dispensed. The problem was that Jamie never actually provided any drugs. The providers never ordered them. As part of the scheme that operated for 2 years between 2019 and 2021, prosecutors said Jamie would falsify documents using the unique ID numbers of providers to make it appear as though they actually prescribed the medication to beneficiaries who patronized the business. He admitted to his crimes, pled guilty to defrauding the healthcare fraud conspiracy, and he was sentenced in April. 5 months later, still serving a 24-month sentence. That sounds pretty fair. $2.5 million, 24 months, and obviously has to pay the restitution. He has to pay back just over $2.5 million, pretty much what he got. So another example of fraud. Like it's constant, man. Every week that I do this show, if you've been following me for a bit, you know, there's almost always a new article about fraud, of them catching someone, whether it's Medicare, Medicaid, whatever it is. These DME schemes that are out there are nuts. There's just two more examples, one for 200 million, another one for 2.5. Let's move on to maybe a little bit of good news, This came through from Health Employee Benefits News. Basically, it is the increased amount for Medicare Advantage payments. And I don't mean commissions payments. But originally they were going to do a 0.9% increase to Medicare Advantage plans. Looks like they are now moving that up to about almost 2.5, 2.48. The average 2.48 pay increase for 27 was on the high end of analyst expectations and marked a win for United Healthcare, Humana, and other Medicare Advantage plans whose stocks had tumbled after the administration's initial proposal back in January. The plans will instead see an average increase of nearly 5% when payments are adjusted to reflect how sick enrollees appear. The administration was swamped by tens of thousands of comments after the initial proposal, less than a 0.1% increase. Right? It was originally 0.9. Now they're moving it up. And after it's all said and done, could be average out to as high as 5%. So that is actually really good news for the Medicare Advantage world, at least, and theoretically for agents. I mean, I would hope that these carriers, and it's not all of them, but some of them, and certainly one very notable one, would get back to paying us regularly and get the commissions back up to on par with what they have been, instead of reducing them or prorating them further, et cetera, if they're going to get more money. But I'm of the opinion that once you give away power, they're not giving it back. So we'll see. But that is some good news that they're going to get more money this year. So that should help the plans be a little more solvent and provide good benefits for our clients. You know, I don't know really what to think accurately, to be honest with you, about 2027 enrollment period. I think it'll be turbulent. I think it'll be a lot more stable than it's been the last couple of years, though, but I think it'll still be fairly turbulent because I think we're going to have a lot of plan exits again for some of the non-commissionable plans that have been sitting out there, right? I think we'll see all of those exit, if I had to guess, and the plans that they initially set up to replace them will come into full swing. I am a little concerned on what commissions might look like from some of the carriers. I mean, if you give one carrier, if one carrier can get away with it, then the other would start doing it. Like we've already kind of seen how that's happened with them removing commissions, making plans non-commissionable. Granted, I understand why they're doing that. They're not doing it as an effort to screw the agent. That's just an indirect result. They're doing it to maintain profitability and get unprofitable shit off the books. So it is what it is. We will see how it goes for next year, but this is at least good news that we're going to get more money, or they're going to get more money. Whether or not that whittles down to us is another thing. Moving along. You may have heard about this already, fairly new, but these GLP-1 drugs are looking like they got a program that's going to bring them for $50 a month. Certain Medicare beneficiaries will qualify for this. So this is Wegovy, Zepbound. There's a handful of other ones. But it basically says some Medicare beneficiaries will soon have access to popular weight loss drugs for a fraction of the sticker price. The Centers for Medicare and Medicaid announced the program last week. It will give individuals who are enrolled in Medicare Part D prescription drugs access to a month supply of weight loss meds for $50. How so? Well, Dr. Oz goes on and says, hey, the treatments are a major medical advancement, but too many seniors don't have access. The Medicare GLP-1 bridge changes that by making these medications more affordable and more accessible, while advancing our broader goal of helping Americans live healthier lives. Beneficiaries are advised to talk to the healthcare provider to determine if GLP-1 meds are appropriate for them. Available medications will include Foundayo, Wegovy, Zepbound's KwikPen. The Wegovy is good for injections and the tablets. The program represents a substantial savings for weight loss meds for users who pay as much as $900 to $1,400. You can see more on the program here. And it goes through the Medicare GLP-1 Bridge program. Let me make sure it did not bounce with you. Let me get you on the right page with me. Boom. So right here, you have the actual full brief from CMS.gov, Medicare GLP-1 Bridge. And this started back from December of 2025 when they announced the Better Approaches to Lifestyle and Nutrition for Comprehensive Health Balance model. And that kicks off July 26th and will serve as the bridge to the balance model in Medicare Part D. So this is a pilot program. Provide eligible beneficiaries to certain GLP-1s. What I'm looking for is who is eligible. I have not yet found that. But let's dig through here a little bit and see what we can find. Just a big, long FAQ sheet. So I'll dig into that. I'm not going to sit here and do all that research on the thing here, but when I share this, when I bounce this in the group, I will make sure that we know which one of these, what is eligible for them. Oh, here it might be right here, actually. It's nationwide. To qualify for coverage of eligible GLP-1 drugs via the bridge, beneficiaries must meet certain prior authorization criteria and be enrolled in standalone Part D plans. That's all it really says. Just says they have to meet prior authorization criteria. It does not tell us what that is. What's this say about PA? A provider does not need to be enrolled in Medicare to order to write the prescription or submit the prior authorization request. So if they go through PA, they get it approved. Looks like they get it for 50 bones. So look out for that. I will get this in the group later and with some updates on it because I want to dig into a little bit more. We had a really good talk on GLP-1s at the NABIP Professional Development Day last week, but not all of this was quite included in there. But good stuff nonetheless. All right. And then finally, I just want to show you guys this. If you guys aren't familiar with this site, Medicare Rights Center, if you haven't seen that, it's a really good site for information on Medicare. They put together a lot of excellent articles, training material, etc. Like I've even provided it to agents to study as training material for Medicare versus just the Medicare side or the Medicare and You Guide, because they actually have like sample tests and quizzes that you can test your knowledge on to see how sharp you are on Medicare. I'm not going to play the video for you, but they put this nice page together on the Medicare cost savings programs that was just recently updated. If you're not familiar with MSPs or Medicare savings programs, I would highly advise maybe read this article. I'm going to get it in the group for you guys. One of the reasons that I brought it up, it's becoming more and more important that we as agents in the Medicare space, at least, familiarize ourselves with Medicare cost savings programs, because if anything is true, the cost of Medicare is going up, but I don't know that their incomes are very much, right? Generally speaking, the cost of Medicare goes up at a rate higher than the Social Security COLA increase. So if the cost of insurance is going up, the thresholds for Medicare cost savings programs are going to they're going to become more prevalent. They're going to get hit more and more, or more people are going to be interested in at least checking out some of those first layers. And if you're not familiar with MSP, Medicare savings programs, it's varies in every state. Every state's different. There are multiple levels of it, from the very basic one all the way down to full-on Medicaid that you can qualify for, depending on the state. Right, but you have different Medicare savings programs, extra help, state pharmaceutical programs, et cetera, and certainly full-on Medicaid. This article goes through it really well. They even have a video on it. I would check it out. I would learn them. And another reason, this is where I was really going with this, if you are an advertiser on the interwebs or social media, MSP ads are a really good way to pull traffic year-round. And when you find people that qualify for MSP, for Medicare savings programs, and you help them get enrolled, when they get approved, that gets them an SEP to then revisit their plan and make any changes that might be necessary. So great way to drum up business year round, and certainly stack up AEP ads at the end of the year, because it works for both. So just a little trick there for you. We have used that quite a bit and works well, but make sure you brush up and you know what you're talking about when you get into these Medicare savings programs. I would also just tell you, know exactly how they apply, know where they apply, know some of the thresholds, program benefits, what happens, what the process looks like, and then send them to the right direction. I would not advocate filling the application out for them on their behalf, even though you can. Maybe if it's already one of your clients, you might want to go to that extra detail. It's a little lengthier app than just like the Part B app, for example. So if it were me, I would educate them, tell them hey, this is a really good opportunity for you. Check it out. Here's where you go. Here's what you do. Here's what the process looks like. And again, if they do qualify, and there's no harm in trying, but if they do qualify, and it's always going to be based on their income and their resources, right? Income is how much money do I make every month? Resources is how much money do I have in the bank? What do I have in assets that can quickly be converted into cash? So they're going to look at both those elements, and you'd be surprised what some of the thresholds are that you can get people approved, even at the very basic level. And if it just helps them out with some of their Part D cost or whatever it might be, wipes out penalties, whatever it might be there, that helps reduce their expense on Medicare, when they qualify for it, again, they get an SEP and you can revisit their plan. So great way to advocate and take care of your clients. And I'm going to put this in the group for you guys too, so you can check out. But with all of that said, man, that is pretty much the news that I wanted to run through today. As I said when I opened the show, I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit. No, I'm not going to sit here and go over my book and try to sell it to you. I think the book will take care of itself. But again, I do have a book coming out called The Relationship Business here pretty soon. And it's going through my philosophy that there are 8 relationships that every agent must is a strong word, has the opportunity to connect and master as a point of growing their career, growing their business, scaling their agency, whatever it might be. 4 of those are prerequisites. You have to do the first 4 to even be an insurance agent. The second 4 are more extracurricular for people that maybe are growing an agency or growing a downline, or just kind of want to expand their business at a higher level and really treat it like a business. Because I think that's always one of the issues in insurance, is there's a lot of agents out there that come into this business and they don't get it, that it's actually a business. It's a business opportunity. It's not a job in most cases. I mean, if you go work for an insurance carrier, just doing sales with them, that might be one thing. But if you come into this space in the independent model of any sort, whether it's an LOA fashion working with the captive agency of some or working just fully independent through an FMO relationship. It's a business opportunity, 100%. So your upline is going to be your first real business partner, your first real business relationship that you tackle, right? Because most people, not everybody, most people don't wake up and think, hey, I want to become an insurance agent today. How do I get that done? There are people 100%. Like I definitely have met people in my time in this industry who have said, hey, I've been doing this or this. Now I want to move into insurance. It looks like it's supposed to be lucrative. I hear people making money. Like, how do I go about that process? And then you'll see them kind of do the first two steps out of order, because most people do the first two steps in this order. Someone recruits them into insurance. That someone is usually the person that becomes their first mentor or upline, FMO, broker, MGA, GA, agency recruiter, whatever it might be. Usually it goes that direction, right? Where they attend an opportunity meeting or someone schedules a meeting with them, talks to them, recruits them into the business, shows them a model that they believe will work for them, and then shows them the ropes on how to get licensed, etc. Occasionally, it will happen the other way, where the guy will go get licensed, and then now that he has his license, he starts shopping for a broker to hang his hat with, right? So to speak. But not always. The vast majority of people, and I saw this study. Oh, it's north. I want to say it's north of 80%, if I remember. I wish I could reverberate it perfectly, but as I remember, I want to say it's something like 83 to 85, 86%. I remember talking to Tyler Reese about this a long time ago, that the vast majority of people get recruited into insurance, like 80s plus percent. Most people aren't finding their way here on their own. So that upline, that mentor, that relationship that they establish that brings them into insurance is the first relationship. And even if it's not the first one, even if someone goes and gets their license first and they establish the second level of relationships, which is the state relationship, even if they establish that one first, the upline relationship is still the more foundational, more important relationship, right? Because that is the one that's going to truly bring you into the business, get you stabilized, hopefully get you some direction, and hopefully either, if it's the right relationship, it can accelerate your growth. And if it's not, it could sabotage your career. And I do want to take a side note on that whole sabotage your career thing. And Luce, thank you. I don't have a firm date on it right now. I would say probably before AAP, something like that. So I probably still got a couple of months before I've got it ready to publish and get out. But I will definitely let you know as soon as I get it. Anyway, what I was saying, in regards to sabotaging your career with the wrong upline, yes, that can happen. And I know that there are agents out there that are like, oh, all the FMOs suck. All the uplines suck, right? They're all just going to tell you what their beautiful, shiny objects are, and then they're going to suck. And that's just how the business is. Number one, that is an extremely negative outlook on this business. I have worked with agents who said that. And I'll never forget, like, there was an agency who I won't name, but there was an agency that moved all their contracts to me one year, several years ago. And they opened the relationship with that statement. Look, we already know that all FMOs suck, but we've heard that you're one of the good guys. And we would, be interested in working with you. And I thought in my brain, because I am one of the good guys, let's be honest, but I thought in my brain, like, I can fix them. It's like the guy that wants to date the cute but psychotic girl. Like, I can fix her. Like, I kind of felt that same way about them. I'm like, I can fix these guys. I can show them that there are not bad FMOs, that a lot of us are actually doing a great job and taking good care of people, et cetera, et cetera. I was wrong, because that was ingrained in their brain, right? That all FMOs suck. And they were extremely incorrect when they decided to throw me under the bus. The truth was, it was ultimately just a result of their disorganization, their bad attitude, etc. And of course, they eventually asked for a release from me, which I signed and gave them immediately. But my point is that is a terrible outlook to have, that, oh, all FMOs suck, all uplines suck. It's not a good thing to go into the business that way. And I don't care if you want to pick on some of the, what do they call them? The multi-level marketing FMOs that are out there, right? Your Primerica's, FFLs, WFGs, blah, 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 Experiors, et cetera. There's a whole bunch of them. People will say like, oh, that's a shit company. You're okay. Your opinion's fine. It's your opinion. But if Bill can be successful in that model, why can't you? There are tons of people successful in Primerica, very successful, very good people, reputable people. Same with FFL, same with WFG, same with plenty of other ones, Symmetry. There are excellent people that work in those models, but agents will come bash them and call them MLM models. The truth is, insurance is an MLM. It's such a great one. You have to get licensed to do it. But they'll bash on these models and say, oh, no, they're crooks, you're criminals, you can't be successful there. But wait a second. I have numerous examples of people that are successful in these organizations. So is it the organization or is it you? And I think it's hard for people to be honest about that a lot of times. And sometimes, yes, there are organizations, and it's usually not the organization as a whole, right? It's one group within that organization, as an example, right? I'm going to pick on AmeriLife for a second. I'm an AmeriLife crony. I've been working within the AmeriLife hierarchy or platform pretty much my whole career, at least since I've been in the Medicare space, which is most of it. AmeriLife has a little bit of a bad reputation. It's gotten cleaned up a lot, and most of it is bullshit and misnomers and just half-truths. But they've had this stigma for many, many, many years that they don't provide any releases. And that's kind of the blanket context of the statement that agents run with. But it's really not true. Number one, and not that I'm here to all of a sudden defend them, I'm trying to use this as an example. There are numerous AmeriLife offices. I mean, they have something like 40 some odd affiliates now. There is a career division of AmeriLife, which has a bunch of different offices all around the nation where career LOA agents go work out of. Then you have all of your affiliates, like where I came out of. And then obviously you have the giant behemoth that is AmeriLife itself and their marketing group. Within their marketing group alone, AmeriLife Marketing Group, I think you have 40 or 50, maybe 60 marketers that are in there recruiting agents and so forth. So one experience with one person within the AmeriLife world does not apply to all of AmeriLife, as an example. And this same statement would be true for Symmetry, true for FFL, true for WFG, true for the integrity side of the business, et cetera, right? So and I'm just going to use a fake name, if Bill within AmeriLife doesn't release you on your contracts, that doesn't mean that AmeriLife doesn't release. That means one of the affiliates that you're working with, or one of the marketers that you're working with, has decided to make that his philosophy. Now, take that with a grain of salt, whatever it is, but a lot of time what I'm really trying to illustrate is it's not the organization that's bad. Sometimes you find a bad apple within the organization, right? And I'll go back to Symmetry. I got a bunch of friends at Symmetry that do very well. I got friends at Primerica that crush it, like absolute crushers, 7-figure earners. And they know how to write business, and they know how to train agents, and they know how to build people up. That's the difference. But people will quickly say, agents will quickly say, like, you don't have to travel far on Facebook groups to hear people rip on Primerica, to hear people rip on FFL, to hear them rip on Symmetry. Why? Because they got a bad experience with someone within the entire organization. Or the alternative is that it's not the organization or the person they got hooked up with at all. It's them, which is a big part of it. Like, anytime you see or hear about an agent who's changed uplines 5 times in 3 years, it's probably not the upline, bro. It's probably you. Like, you don't have an upline problem. You have a Johnny problem. Now, a big part of the message that I really want to talk about in this segment, we've got about 20 more minutes if I go the whole hour, is I kind of want to talk a lot about like picking the right upline for you. But we're going to get more into like, what is an upline? How does it matter? What are their responsibilities? What are your responsibilities? Why are they even in the mix, etc.? So just to jump ahead, like, how do you pick the right upline? And this is, and I answer this question the same way every time, because this is a question that pops up in every damn Facebook group out there. Who's the best FMO? Worst question anybody could ever ask. Like, tell me you don't know shit about insurance without telling me you don't know shit about insurance when you just ask such a broad, sweeping, ridiculous questions like, who's the best FMO? Anybody, there used to be an FMO called the best FMO. Calvin Sulak, he was called himself Best GA Contracts. So I guess Calvin Sulak's the best because that was the name of his business. Best GA Contracts. He's no longer in the business. I don't even know if Calvin's still alive. God bless your soul, sir. I did work with him for a while at one point. Very nice guy. Anyway, here's how I always answer that question. The best FMO or the best upline is the one that can fill all the gaps that you need to grow your business or to accomplish your goals that you can't provide for yourself. So let me say that again. If you're like, hey, how do I go find a broker? How do I find an FMO? How do I find an upline that's going to help me be successful? The first thing you have to do is you have to look inside yourself and figure out what is it that you're trying to accomplish. What are your goals in the business? Short-term, mid-term, long-term even. And then how do I find the broker or who is the broker, whether it's FMO, MGA, GA, whatever, right? We don't get attached to the acronyms. Who is the one that can help me accomplish those goals by helping me fill the gaps for the things that I can't do on my own, right? So what are the list of items that you can't provide for yourself to accomplish your goals and grow your business? And then find a broker or upline that can help you with those items, compensate you accordingly, right? And put you on the right direction. And that will probably evolve as you mature in the business. So the upline that you start with may not be the upline that you finish with, and that's okay. And it might not be one upline that helps you do all that. You might need to grab a couple and work with a few, which I'm a big advocate of. There is something to be said about consolidation of your contracts in certain segments of this business, but that doesn't mean that you have to put every single product line with one FMO only. Like, there is the old adage of don't put all your eggs in one basket. You know, I would say, like, if there's an FMO that's like, if you're in the Medicare space like me, if there's an FMO that's really strong at Medicare Advantage, maybe I consolidate those contracts with them. But then maybe I take some of my ancillary products and I find a carrier that can provide me better deals on some of the ancillary products, hospital indemnities, dental, vision, Medicare supplement, final expense. Maybe I have a separate life FMO that can get me better deals, better support on the life side of the business, right? So I might end up with three. I got my Medicare Advantage guy, I got my supplemental health guy, and I got my life guy. And if I'm super stellar, like my buddy Pete Fournier, I might have a separate annuity FMO. Like, there's nothing wrong with doing that. And it makes more sense, in my opinion, than just putting all your eggs in one basket and be like, oh, well, let's just do a catch-all. We'll put everything with this guy or this group. And yeah, I know they don't really know annuities very well, but they're really good at the Medicare space. And yeah, they have annuity contracts. Now, that's not conducive for your business, right? So again, as you mature and grow, you might end up working with multiple brokers or uplines. But ultimately, that is the foundational relationship. It is the first real business relationship in insurance. And it matters because ultimately, that when it's done properly, right, is the person that's going to help point you in the right direction. And everybody needs different stuff. And that's why I said, don't look for the FMO first. Look inside yourself first. What am I trying to accomplish? What do I need to accomplish that I can't provide for myself? Maybe the answer is only contracts. Like in my scenario, for the most part, the only thing I can't provide for myself, and that's not even 100% true anymore, is the contracts, the products. I need an FMO that can give me access, right? Some carriers I can now go direct, and my status, my production's high enough. There are certain carriers that will appoint me direct now. But for the most part, I'm still going to go through a broker or FMO. And for me, that when I ask that question, the answer is simple. I only need really two things from an FMO at this point. that I can't provide for myself. I can't provide all the contracts to myself, so I need access. And then I need like the highest commissions I can get to make myself the most profitable, right? So what FMO can I work with that has a phenomenal portfolio of products for me to choose from, makes access simple, but more importantly, they don't have a bunch of people in the middle clogging up the hierarchy and the commission chain. I'm right at the top direct payment system. I may not be at the top level with them, but I have access to it. So as I grow, I can grow into those higher levels. That's what I need. Another agent is going to say something totally different. I need leads. I don't know how to market myself. I need someone to help me by getting me in front of people. I can sell. I just need people. And I also need access to contracts. And I need some tutelage. I need some training on products. I need some training on sales, right? Some agents might say, man, I need someone to drive me around to some appointments for a minute. Or I need someone to do three-way calls and let me sit in the background and audit their appointments they're running by phone so that I can hear the language. I can hear the flow. I can hear how it goes back and forth, right? I need regular Zoom trainings to keep me on topic. I need product trainings. Like every agent's going to be different, man. So you can't, as an agent, you have to, number one, understand that I think there's like, I don't know, there's well over 1 million agents out there. I can't remember the number. I think there's like 1.5 million that are just life and health. I don't know how many there are in the P&C space. But like every agent's not the same. So if every agent's not the same, then every FMO is not the same either. And you have to find that broker, that upline that's going to match with you. And when you're brand new, it might not be the biggest FMO out there. Because a lot of these real big box FMOs, right? Your AmeriLifes, your high-level integrities, right? I'm not going to drop all the names, but if you go out to your big monster FMOs that are out there that are doing millions of dollars in business and they have 10,000 agents in their hierarchy, that might not be the right place for a brand new agent because they don't have the opportunity or the time or the skill set even to drive you from appointment to appointment to teach you how to sell. They don't have the ability to a lot of them don't have the time or the ability to sit there and train you on language. They're going to give you a handbook or give you a direction or give you a video and tell you to watch that. Right. And then hopefully maybe they have time to do some Q&A with you on the phone to train you up and answer some questions. But a lot of times those guys in those big box FMOs ain't ever sold a piece of business themselves. A lot of them aren't even licensed. Like you don't have to be a licensed agent to be a marketer recruiter within one of these larger FMOs. That doesn't mean they don't know the industry to at some level. That doesn't mean they don't know Medicare or they don't know how certain products within their wheelhouse operates. But it does mean that they have no idea what it's like to sit across the table from someone and listen to them cry about their 14 medications that they're on, the cost of their bills, the problems they're having, the prior authorization that just denied them access to a walker when they really need a walker, or whatever myriad of problems some of these people have. And then take the time to be compassionate, educate them, empower them, and show them the right plan that's going to meet their needs. They have no clue how to do that, and they can't help you do that, right? So again, what do you need as an agent? Do you need someone to teach you that? Well, you need to find an FMO that's written business. And maybe it's not FMO. I remember FMO, and this is one of the problems in the industry also. FMO it's not a standardized term, especially the way we've completely bastardized it. FMO means field marketing organization. It means an agency that runs a bunch of field agents that run around in the field and sell insurance. Usually in an independent category, or at least independent from the idea that they have multiple products. The field agents might be captive and often are in a true FMO, the original way that term was created. IMO, independent marketing organization, would be more how FMOs are used nowadays, where it's like, oh, who do I go get my contract? Bill is my FMO. Bill is not your FMO. Bill is probably a GA or MGA or whatever. Like, don't get attached to the acronyms, but understand that, like, if I need someone to teach me how to have that kitchen table sale, I need to go find a person that has done it, has the time, has the skill set, and can show me. And maybe that person is attached to a big box FMO that gets the access and the tools and the resources, and they're helping shape those and give them to you as well. So the newer you are and the less knowledge you have, the less likely it is that you should be contracting with one of the big box FMOs. And the more likely it is you need to find someone that is in that middle range. Someone like me, for example, not that I'm here to recruit everybody, but hey, get on my team. Let's go. I'm ready to party. Someone who has written business, someone who knows what it's like to write business, someone who can actually get on the phone with you and help you understand how to underwrite a Medicare supplement app properly, how to submit something properly, how to troubleshoot the different election code periods properly, like all of those different things, how to teach you to bundle products the right way. I guarantee you're not going to call your marketer at the big box FMO and be like, hey, teach me that pitch on how I bundle 5 apps in a single Medicare supplement presentation. They'll be like, I don't know. Just show them the products. Isn't that all you have to do? No, it's slightly more complicated than that. Doesn't have to be, but it is. I've talked about bundling on here many times. So again, the newer you are, the more likely that you need a smaller level upline, someone that has the time to actually teach you and show you the business at ground level. So I'm just going to say it again. Before you go sign a contract with anybody and you're shopping for your upline to guide you and mentor you, ask yourself first, hey, what are my goals? What are the things that I need to accomplish those goals that I can't provide for myself? And then go find an FMO that can fill those gaps and compensate you accordingly. That's the best way to do it, in my opinion. Because if you pick up the phone and start calling everybody, be like, hey, do you have access to United Healthcare? Are you a good FMO? What do you buy? They're all going to tell you how great they are. And they are. But they're all basically, especially at the big box level, it's pretty much all the same shit now. They've all got the same contract levels. Most of them all have the same tools or very, very similar tools in regards to quote engines and access to platforms and Sunfire or Connecture or whatever. They're pretty much all, it's almost all the same. The only slight difference might be a couple of contracts here or there that are proprietary, and maybe, how much knowledge some of those guys that answer the phone actually have, if they even answer the phone. And then when you grow to the business where you don't need sales training, you don't need leads, you don't need someone to market for you, all you need is someone to give you access to get the hell out of your way, then now you can maybe start looking at some of the bigger box FMOs that are out there. And a big part of that problem, the insurance industry created on its own, because the barrier to entry to get into insurance is already so low. $50 in Texas. I don't know how much more expensive it is in other states, maybe Kentucky or Illinois are a little pricier, but basically $50 in Texas, you can become an insurance agent if you can get past the test. So it's a super easy business to get into, at least from a licensing standpoint. But then you have to find the people that can show you the ropes properly. I've seen extremely limited number of people that have come from zero to hero in the first business transaction they make. Relationship transaction. Let me say this a little clearer. The number of times, because I did wholesale recruiting for 13 years outside of being an agent prior to that, etc. As a wholesale recruiter, especially when you have a dope website like we had and you're number one on Google all the time, we had a lot of inbound traffic, people looking to get into the business, right? If you had Googled Medicare FMO, probably still to this day, we're one of the top precision senior marketing, or PSM brokerage is going to be one of the top links. So we had a ton of traffic. We built a massive business. Before I left, we were doing over 50 million in Medicare supplement premium, probably another close to 10 million in final expense. We're doing a little bit of annuities, even though it wasn't our thing. And I don't know how many tens of thousands of applications we were doing in Medicare Advantage, but it was fairly disgusting. Anyway, my point is this. I'd get a ton of phone calls from people, agents, brand new agents, talking a big game, man. Hey, I just got my license. I'm looking for an FMO to work with. I'm looking for a broker. I'm looking for someone that has access to Medicare products, whatever. I'm like, I'm going to go light it up, man. You definitely want me on your team. I'm going to kill it. Okay. 9 times out of 10, no, more than 99 times out of 100 times, I would see little to no production from that human. because they really don't know the business. They just think they do. And at first, like, as a recruiter, I'm like, cool, man. If you say you got it, you got it. Let me send you the contracts. We'll get going. And I'd coach them up as best I can on the industry. But only ever had one in that entire time. I only ever had one dude that said that to me and proved it. I miss talking to him. He was a good cat. But this older fella, he's in his 60s, calls me from Arizona and tells me that story. I'm a savvy marketer. I'm great with people. I'm smart with business. I just need someone that can teach me Medicare. I'm like, well, I can definitely do that. Like, the Medicare industry has been my jam for 20 years at that point, or close to it. It's like, I can definitely do that for you. I'd be happy to be that partner. Here's the other things that I can bring in to help simplify your business, contracts, processes, technology, etc. And we went through probably 2 or 3 phone calls before he ever decided to actually place his contracts with me. And every time I talked to him, he would tell me how great he was going to be. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, here we go with this story again. I've heard this so many times. And now I got this dude in his 60s that's telling me that he's going to go light it up in the Medicare space. I'm like, dude, you're like 63 years old. Like, I never said that, but that was in the back of my mind. Like, what are you really going to go do? But okay, if you tell me. And he was very smart. He'd made a good amount of money in real estate and was looking for another lane to go travel in. And then he told me his marketing idea, which I still will not divulge, even though some people have already kind of learned what it is. But he told me about his marketing idea. And I was like, dude, that is a very savvy marketing idea. If you have the money to back it up. And he's like, I definitely do. This is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to go about it. And so all I had to do is teach him Medicare. He started getting appointments. He would build the cases. He'd bring the cases back to me. I'd teach him how to wrap his head around them. And we did that for him, and I did that together for about 6 months, maybe, where he would go out, do his presentations, get his case together, bring it to me and be like, hey, am I looking at this the right way, right? For this person, Medicare Advantage, drugs, blah, 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 hospital indemnity, like looking at the whole situation. I'm like, yeah, this is how I would go about it. He did that for about 6 months, and then he took a little break and started really pushing on his marketing and ramping it up. Within 4 years, he had, let me say this right. His first 18 months in the business, he wrote over 400 apps on his own pen, which I was fairly impressed with for a brand new person. And then within the first 4 years, he ended up with about 6 to 8 agents writing a couple thousand apps a year. Dudes like that are slim to none. Like, they do not come around a lot. And again, that low barrier to entry is what gives the people access. It doesn't give people direction. So this guy was one of the outliers. He's able to get in. He understands business. He understands marketing, right? What did he need? He told me, he's like, I just need access to products. I need someone to teach me Medicare. I got the rest of it covered, right? So he knew, he had already done the research and said, hey, what is it that I need to accomplish my goals that I can't provide for myself? And someone that can help me fast track it. That answer was me, and we became good partners for a period of time. I've only got about 4 minutes, 3 minutes, so I don't have time to go through the rest of this entire thought process on chapter 1 of this book that I'm putting out. But I will say, just keep your eyes peeled for it. I'm hoping to have it released before AEP. I was really shooting for July, but I really don't know if that's going to happen. It has taken a lot more work than I thought I'm a bit of a perfectionist. So I want to put together a good product for you guys that's long lasting, that will give something of substance, not only to brand new agents, but to older agents as well. So certainly stay tuned. As the book gets closer to launch date, we will definitely put it out here and give you guys an opportunity. We might even do a special discount or something for the syndicate. Not that it's going to be very expensive. Probably, $20, $25 book or something. No big deal. But it will be very, very meaty in content. And that is, I put the framework of it together super quick. because this idea has been swimming around in my head in a while. I've given this talk a few times at conferences and even on this podcast a couple of times as far as the 8 relationships. And then when I started fleshing it out as a full-on book, an instructional, educational book for the industry, not just to be like, oh, look, relationships, but actually how to find them, manage them, navigate them, take action on them, and help nurture them is really what the book is about. When I got the framework of it done pretty quick, I was like, damn, dude, I'm going to bang this book out fast. This is going great because it's all my own intellectual property that's just swimming around in my brain. Wasn't hard to start putting it down on paper. But when I really started to get into it, especially when I really started to lay out how I wanted each chapter of the book to flow, just to give you an example, and this isn't giving anything away, right? But you'll have the topic, you'll have your chapter summary, key takeaways, and action steps and reflection questions for each chapter, because each chapter is a lesson on one of the different levels of relationships in the insurance business, right? And then at the end of that, it's going to give you some reflection questions like, hey, what is your experience in this relationship? What are your connection points? Where are you strong in this relationship? Where are you weak? Right? And then some action steps on how you can improve it, so forth. So every chapter is laid out the same way. And then as I started building that template out, I'm like, oh, this is going to take more time because I got to make sure that the substance is there with each chapter so that I can have these final items that really give you food for thought with each one. So that's that. But again, your upline is the first level. That is the foundation. And that is what kind of I chatted about a little bit today. But man, I appreciate you guys tuning in. We are at the top of the hour, and I definitely have some business to write today. So y'all have yourselves an awesome, awesome day. And I will see y'all on the flip side next week. Take it easy.